congratulations on your appointment to head coach of Team USA.
Thank you, sir.
And before that, I'm going to get it right this time. You were head coach of Junior Team USA. Prior
Yes.
to that, you were assistant coach to Junior Team USA, and then you were doing what before that?
I ran the International Training and Research Center, so
Yep.
the ITRC in Arlington, Texas. I was the manager of that. So there's 3 of us. We give lessons day to day for your everyday bowler. You know, the normal USBC member could come on in and get lessons, and so we'd give like hour-and-a-half lessons, 3.5-hour lessons, and then full day 6-hour lessons. And so we do that all the time, and then we'd sprinkle in some Team USA stuff as well.
What's it mean to you to be now appointed to the head coach position of representing America?
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, I don't even know if it's sunk in. You know, I was telling somebody earlier. You know, they said to me, you know, there's only one of these in the world. You know,
Yeah.
There's only one head coach of Team USA. So when I think about it like that, it kind of freaks me out a little bit. But you know, I've been fortunate enough to have great mentors along the way that have taught me a ton, and you know, been fortunate enough to have success too. So I'm excited for the opportunity, humbled at the opportunity as well, and we're just gonna go kick some butt.
And not only that, you know one of the best bowlers in the world who happens to also be a Team USA bowler, and maybe in your family.
Yeah.
And maybe you rep with her during the tournaments, Shannon O'Keefe.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about traveling together, and I assume you do a little bit of coaching here and there.
Yeah.
If she's not coaching you.
Yeah. Yeah, so since the relaunch of the PWBA in 2014, I've actually ball repped on the ladies tour every year. So this is the first summer that I haven't ball repped, and this is my actually first event where I haven't ball repped. So my first time as a spectator and as a husband here, so it's exciting. You know,
So you're officially behind the red line.
Exactly, the first time ever. Until right now, I'm actually cheating. But yeah, first time ever behind the red line at a PWBA event. But it's exciting just to be a husband for once. But Shannon and I, you know, we've done the coach-player relationship for, 15 years now. We have done the co-worker relationship. You know, we also work together at McHenry University.
Right.
So we work in the same office day in, day out. So we've done that relationship. And so now from the Team USA side of things, you know, now I'm just her head coach at Team USA as well. So, you know, we have to, what's the best way to say it? We have to be careful with how things go. You know, we can't have anybody assume that there's some conflict of interest with, obviously, you know, if Shannon bowls somewhere and say, well, you know, of course Shannon's going to bowl because her husband's a coach. So, you know, when it comes to women's team affairs, until Shannon is retired from the team, I'm going to take a back seat on any subjective type, you know, like who's going to bowl, who's not going to bowl. I will step out of the room when it comes to those cases, just so there's no conflict of interest when it comes to that. Now, with that being said, her track record kind of speaks for itself. So for her, going and bowling events is very common. So she tends to get chosen anyways, regardless of if I'm in the selection or not.
Right.
But yeah, so it's something we've done for a long time. So it's just another layer.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about McHenry and being the director of bowling there, and she's the head coach of the women's team.
Yep.
And that dynamic and that team, they're very good as well on the college circuit.
Yeah, we've been doing it since 2014. So I told you about what I did at the training center pre 2014, and then we got an opportunity. We found a crazy athletic director that thought it would be a good idea to hire a husband and wife to take over the bowling program. And so we moved to Southern Illinois, and it's the best thing we've ever done. You know, I've loved my time in Texas. I love my time in New York. You know, I'm not far from here. I'm born and raised in Rochester, so
Nice.
Not terribly far from here.
A few hours.
Yeah, a few hours, 3.5 hours or so. But what we do now, you know, coaching the kids, it's incredible. Not only getting to see them grow as bowlers and hopefully have them compete on tour if they want to one day, but also to watch them grow as people. Halfway through this block, I actually did a quick little interview with Emil in the Bowl TV, and at that time, there was 3 former McHenry players in the top 9, so that was kind of cool to hear.
Nice.
And then Shannon was 10th, so there's actually technically 4 McHenry players in the top 10 at that time.
Nice.
I don't know how it all fizzled out there at the end, but that's what it was at the time. So it's exciting. You know, it's like we're parents to the kids, really. We get to watch them grow and turn into hopefully great young women and men that are active and great members of society.
And then real quick, here at the Albany Open, what are you seeing on the lanes? What are you seeing with the ladies out there? Who looks to have maybe the best look or matching up? And I don't know how the lane's breaking down.
Yeah, you know, anytime you're bowling, this pattern's 36 feet. So anytime you bowl on a short pattern, the number one question in my mind is, does the gutter hook? Because if you bowl on a short pattern and there's some hang on the gutter, the lanes are going to be really tricky. But the gutter hooks here, so I think that's why you're seeing a little bit higher scoring pace than if there was some hang on the gutter. But to me, it looked like the tricky part came during the transition, where a lot of the girls started to the right, but then what happens? A few of the girls start to migrate more to the middle of the lane where they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, a few of the girls with more of the heavy hands, the higher rev rates, or even maybe the slower speeds. And then you still have the girls who want to throw it a little harder and a little firmer to the right. So that causes a lot of traffic going all over the place. So I think, but that's very common, you know, it happens every week. So I don't think the lanes transitioned any different than I would expect. They just can get a little tricky towards the end of it. But overall scoring pace is pretty good.
Yeah.
Once that oil carries down a little bit in the middle, you know, that's when the scores tend to go up. So games 2, 3, 4 look pretty good. For sure. Yeah, and that is one thing that doesn't really make its way on this tour very often. As someone who's been a ball rep for 5 years, I can tell you urethane is like non-existent. And some of the reps said that this tournament right this week today was the first day they've ever charted who was using urethane in practice and on their opening pair. Because on the guys tour they have to do that a lot because so much urethane is going down the lane that if you're not, as a ball rep, if you're not keeping track of pairs that used urethane and pairs that didn't, the people who came to those lanes on games 3, 4, 5, it's going to play completely different based on who used urethane and who didn't. And they said today was the first time they ever had to do it. So you're right, there was more urethane going down the lane than I've ever seen at a PWBA event. Yeah, I think you know, just in most cases the rev rate's being a little lower than the guys tour. You know, they don't feel the need to throw it on the shorter patterns. Take my wife for example. You know, she can throw it hard enough and she can back her hand out of it, and she doesn't hit it hard enough to really make the resin balls kind of go crazy. You know, she can smooth them out with some surface or just by using stronger balls. So the urethane doesn't really come into play. She's never drilled a urethane ball ever. And her brands that sponsor her, Hammer, have had some of the best urethane balls in the market with that purple thing. So ironically enough, she's never threw a purple ball for the last couple of years. She never even drilled one because she just felt like it would be a waste. Now we do have a few of our college girls at McHenry have drilled them and throw them very, very occasionally. But for the females, you generally see them use them a little bit more when the scoring pace is a little lower. Different than guys. The guys can generally make it, you know, they throw urethane when 240 is a good game, and they'll just keep bowling 240 every game with it. Or the girls, because their rev rate's not quite as high, they tend to leave a few more 10 pins and corner pins with it. So you don't see them, like what Danielle did, throw it all 6 games. You don't see that a ton anymore. So it's good. And she bowled 299 the last game. So it obviously was still working just perfectly fine.
All right, I'll let you go. Now we're
Thanks,
just
man.
talking.